told me he had not been in victory lane at Talladega since with Dale Earnhardt. When you came to JGR, you're expected to win. If you're not winning, you're not going to have a job. When I won Pocono, the weight of the world literally felt like it lifted off my shoulders.
Well, Chase, that was an intense battle all the way to the end. Had the speeding penalty there early, overcame that, got in position there, and you obviously you've been in enough Talladega races. You know that those can turn upside down at any moment. So that had to feel great to knock that Superspeedway win off the checklist.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I mean, literally in every kind of division, whether it was, ARCA, trucks, Xfinity, Cup, whatever it was, I've never won a super speedway race. So yeah, just to finally win a super speedway race was something that was super special. And I put a lot of work into it. It's hard because you don't always get the, work to actually do the results of it. But to finally just win one of those races and the timing that it came in was huge.
Yeah, the timing is obviously something that you don't circle when you go to Talladega. It's nice when it happens and you're able to capitalize on that. But for you, the timing of it to get to the championship, to have Johnny Morris there, all those things coming together had to be something that you probably didn't have circled. I would assume that Vegas and Martinsville were probably the races that you wanted to control, but had to feel good to have Johnny Morris and the whole Bass Pro Shop crowd in victory lane there with you.
Yeah, it was certainly perfect timing. I mean, just the timing of the playoffs, and then just having Johnny there. We've been able to win a couple of races this year, but Johnny's not been in any of them. And to have him there and just see how excited he was telling us that it's one of the greatest days in his company's history. And I didn't even realize he told me he had not been in victory lane at Talladega since with Dale Earnhardt. So that was really, really cool just to see how excited and jacked up he was. And then, it was our third win of the year, so I got to do some 3 for Dales with Johnny in victory lane at Talladega. Yeah, just it was a perfect day. And yeah, I mean, like you said, going into this round of 8, I looked at Vegas and I looked at Martinsville, and even yesterday, the whole goal was just to try to come out of there above the cut line, and then go control what I felt like I could control at Martinsville. But yeah, to win there is even better.
When you look at the situation now, you've won at Talladega. Obviously, you want to go to Martinsville and do all you can do. But how does the attention during the week shift and change now? Have you guys had that conversation yet?
Very, very briefly, just last night. We're still gonna sim Martinsville, this week just to try to, see what we can do and learn, obviously, even for next year. But yeah, we're certainly, shift some of our focus to Phoenix this week. Our sim time at Martinsville will be very, very limited compared to what we will do at Phoenix. And yeah, just absolutely maximizing everything we can for Phoenix. I mean, we're probably running additional, I don't know, 10, 15 hours probably. I mean, who knows? But yeah, we're definitely putting in a lot of extra effort just trying to go to Phoenix and be the best prepared we can be. And yeah, hopefully it'll be enough.
Talk to me about your mindset. You start the year and you come into a new team, new organization, new people, new everything. You learn the processes of everything that's going on. You go and you get yourself into victory lane for the third time now. You have to deal with the pressure of the playoffs, and now you're gonna take the next step in dealing with the pressure of the playoff race at the cup level. What has that process been like for you mentally to adapt to not trying to survive as a driver to knowing that you're a winner and you're in the Cup Series to hopefully stay for a long time and know that you go to the racetrack every week now with an opportunity to win. That is a massive transition from where you started the year to where you are in where you are as a driver.
It definitely is. I would say that, the playoffs have not been stressful, pressure packed at all. The beginning of the season was the most pressure I feel like I've ever been under in my life. Just all the way up, truthfully, till Pocono when we won. The weight of the world literally felt like it lifted off my shoulders when I finally won at Pocono. Just because when you came to JGR, like you're expected to win, you have to win. If you're not winning, you're not going to have a job, at any other race team. And yeah, when I won Pocono, I felt like literally the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. And since that day, I've kind of just had this mindset, shift as we started running better. I went from, occasionally running in the top five at the beginning of the year to then a little more consistently. And then we were running, top two and three, it seemed like every single weekend. And I became just one of the guys that's occasionally up front to kind of consistently up front. And yeah, I mean, now I go to the racetrack every single weekend with the intention that I can go there and win the race. And it's very similar to, I would say, 2020 and Xfinity, where I feel like if I just go to the racetrack and do my job and execute, I'm gonna have a shot to win the race. And that's a really fun feeling to have, when you can go to the racetrack every single weekend, no matter road course, short track, intermediate, super speedway, and know that you have a shot to win the race at the cup level. And that's something that I didn't necessarily feel the last 4 or 5 years of my career. So just trying to, enjoy the moment because it could all change, at any point. JGR could go on a downswing. Obviously we hope that doesn't happen, but we see it time
Right.
and time again. So just trying to take advantage of it. Certainly, I went from just trying to be one of those guys to now I feel like I'm one of those guys, and it's that confidence and everything that comes along with that has been a huge shift, mentally for sure.
When you look at the standings right now, there's if it went today, you'd have 3 JGR cars in the championship 4. Have you ever thought about how you guys are gonna manage that internally? That's quite the feat for the company. But, it's winner take all in that situation. That would be fun to watch, and probably
Yeah.
as stressful as you could as much stress as you could ever put on Joe Gibbs in one situation, having 3 cars racing for the championship. Have you thought about that at all?
I mean, yeah, I've thought about it a little bit. I mean, it's certainly possible. Honestly, I don't think it'll feel, from my standpoint, I don't think it'll feel any different than what it does every other week because that's the one thing I've kind of learned at JGR is like every single weekend, a lot of the time, if I'm going to win the race, I'm racing my teammates for the win. So, I mean, yeah, there's more at stake, I guess, with the championship, but I still have to go beat the same guys. And we do get a lot of, I guess, practice racing each other for wins in big situations. So yeah, I don't think it'll really change a whole lot. At least from my side, I don't think it will. It'll be a little unique, I guess, just within the team side of things. The crew chiefs and stuff. Obviously we all can see what each other are doing and setup wise with practice and everything. I think that part would be probably a little unique. But yeah, hopefully we can all three get there. It would definitely be a huge feat for the company. And yeah, hopefully if all three of us get there, then at least hopefully one of us is the guy that walks away with it all.
When you go to Phoenix, for me, when I went to Phoenix in those championship 4 scenarios, it was like just a totally different process because you've got people that wanna go to the race, you've got family, you gotta be there days early. Have you been in a situation before where you're racing for a championship or a moment where you have to just totally abort all the planning that you've done in the past for a particular race, knowing that you're going to, because it's not the same. I know people will try to tell you the same. I've been in a situation. It's not the same because there's way more to manage. Have you been in a situation like that where you've had to kind of get out of your normal routine to do something like you'll have to do at Phoenix?
Not really. Even in Xfinity, it was 2020, so it was COVID year, so it was different. People weren't even really allowed in the garages still. So, I didn't have a lot of people there even when I raced for that. But the only thing I feel like I could even somewhat compare it to is just, Indianapolis race weekend, just because I go up early, I spend time with all my family and friends. It's going to be still way different than that. And even just how the week will go. I got to leave Wednesday versus leaving on a Friday or Saturday, and just even the flight going out there with three little ones. Is going to be stressful in itself. So yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be different from that standpoint. Just trying to manage all of that. Yeah, it'll be different. Truthfully, I'm glad that it's going to be chaos, and have all those people there. That means you're obviously at an incredible opportunity, right? And they wouldn't want to go and support me if I didn't have that opportunity. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, it'll be different. But truthfully, I think I would rather have it that way. If I was just by myself or sitting there all day or all weekend, just me and the team, like I feel like I would think about it too much where because all my friends and family are going, it'll kind of help distract me to a certain extent. And everybody's kind of different in that sense, but for me, I feel like that'll probably be better.
All right, last question. Who's more intense on you, Chris Gabehart, or James Small?
That's easy. That's James all day long.
Okay.
I mean, Gabehart can be intense, but there's not a more intense man than James Small. I mean, I said it the other night in my press conference. Like I'm legit scared of James.
Yeah.
He just terrifies me. And I think that's what's made our pairing so unique and so good. It's just we are so different and it's two just polar opposites. I'm very, very laid back, kind of calm, chill about everything. And James is very high intensity about everything. And we just kind of mellow each other out. Like I need somebody that kind of pokes me along and, keeps me, going. And, in those chaotic moments, I can kind of be that voice of reason and that calming for the team. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to work with James. Obviously I see what all the fans say and stuff in the past when I was racing against them, and he gets so much flack that is so undeserved. That guy is the hardest working guy in the garage. I can guarantee it. And I'm just super thankful and appreciative that I'm the one lucky driver that gets to work with him.
Well, I'm super happy for you, man. You have put the time, the effort, and everything into putting yourself in a position to race for a Cup Series championship. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and we'll all be watching.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate it.